Welcome to Ō-Rākau. What you're going to hear today is actually from the stories, from the kōrero of those who fought here. And so you're going to hear our story. This is our history. This is our truth.
And you've got to understand this rain's a blessing. Ana he pai tēnei ua, te hononga papatua nuku ki rangi nui ki papatua nuku. So my name is Tony. My tupuna, who fell here, her name was Hine Turama. Her daughter died with her as well, her name was Ewa. But I like to cast my mind back to 1850, to the time we were talking about before at Rangi Awhia, that this whole area was a pātaka kai. So my whakapapa here comes from my tupuna. She lived in Makatu, over in Tarawa. She lived on Makoia. She lived in Ohenamutu, and she lived in Ō-Rākau. So she had kāinga in all those places, and those places connected her to her whenua. So Māori, we didn't have one kāinga, we had a whole lot of kāinga, and it followed our whakapapa. So it was a new land, it was a new time, the Treaty of Waitangi had been signed, ko tiro rātou whakamua. They were looking forwards to the time all the pakanga, all the fighting of the past was behind them, and this new world was taking them forwards. They knew the pain, they knew the anguish that our people went through just over the hill there. They knew what happened, but they still decided to stay. They still decided to stand. Te Arawa, just like Ngāti Porou, had some people in it that fought with or against the Crown at different times. So it was survival, it was survival instinct at that time for the people. The battle went for 3 days. They ran out of water, they ran out of kai to eat. The babies inside were starving. But when you're in war, you're in war. And when you're fighting for your kids, I think you do anything.
Standing here at Ō-Rākau, often it breaks my heart when I stand here. The problem with us not talking about places like Ōrākau is that then it becomes easy to forget. It becomes very easy for the Crown or for the government to forget about what happened in places like Ōrākau and Rangi Awhia. I was one of the privileged ones to actually have that kōrero. Many of my generation and the generation before me weren't given that opportunity. I think about, if we don't tell this story, then how are you going to know? And so what I'm going to give you today is not found in any history book. It's passed on from generation to generation. It was told to me by my karawa Raikuia. When they said it, they had tears in their eyes.
And they were convinced of fighting. They wanted to fight. Rewi manga tried to talk them out of it. Engari ka kira te kare mātou I haere mai mea mātou pū, kei te toi maha mātou pū. When we started in 2005, our first haka was about Ō-Rākau. And we've always had something in our brackets about remembering ngā riri whenua.
My korauā, Te Pairata, was so angry that he's told his people, we are going to go to war. He took his tokotoko and said, me mati au ki konei. Let me die here on the lands.
So I stand here on behalf of my tupuna that lies here in Ōrākau. Her name was Hine Turama. I used to ask my grandmother, why don't we talk about this? Oh, her riri ia, because I was talking about her great-grandmother. And she used to say, you don't know, you don't understand the pain. And I don't want to give it to you, you don't need to know this.
It was a stinking hot day on the 31st of March 1864. But they were having church when our sentries, our lookouts, saw the advance of the British troops, Brigadier General Carey's troops, moving upon the pa.
The battle was here in 1864. My grandmother that brought me up, she was only 15-year-old. And they used her to get the water from the Puni River. They used to fill up these calabashes with water, run all the way down, about 4 kilometres down towards the Puni River to get the water for them. In 1958, she passed away at 112.
The pa was attacked 3 times. Every time the British attacked Ō-Rākau pa, they were repulsed, they were pushed back. 300 Māori, men, women and children, here in this pa, fighting against Carey's troops who were over 1,200. For every one Māori defender, there was 4 trained soldiers. Because we got caught early from finishing the pa, we ran out of food, we ran out of water, and we ran out of bullets. It got to such a bad state that what we were putting in the guns, we were putting pips from the peaches. That's what they were using.
What's apparent is that the reason for the road, te hararu o ngā motoka, is to diminish our mana motuhake Māori, to take away any vestiges of Māori mana. We weren't the rebels, we were the freedom fighters for our land. They were the rebels. They were the foreigners coming in to ki te taha i te whenua.
Go tell those people that we'll give them a chance to get out, to give up. The reply was, friend, we will fight you forever. Ka whawhai tonu mātou, ake.
And he said, no, your mother was an enemy, your sister as well. And so then he sent a claimant, claiming all the area that he could whakapapa to. They said, no, it belongs to other people now. Your claim is invalid. For the rest of his life, he continued to try and come back to get his mother's bones. And they said, no Māori allowed here. So we became what's called ahimātao. So ahimātao means that your fires have burnt out. It means you no longer have a home. It means you no longer have a kāinga.
So for many of them, it was an act of chivalry, an act of bravery, that these young men would give their lives so selflessly.
Through all this wonderful things we're doing today, as a part of that coming back, that reconnecting on our Ōrākau side. Now if you think about it, the battle that took place where women and children were killed, it burnt a memory on the minds and the hearts of our people. Because it wasn't done by te ao tāwhito tau Māori, it was done by fellow Christians.
For my family, we remember Ōrākau not only with a sense of sadness, but also with a sense of pride. Ko was our koraua, te pairata, who gave his life here. His son Honetere gave his life here for the service of his people. And so we remember these people. We remember Ōrākau.